The goal of SEO in this age of AI is not to generate more traffic, but it's to create trust. And right now, AI and Google's AI mode is changing what it means to show up in search. If your content doesn't directly answer what your ideal customers are looking for, even if it is content that ranks, you effectively are invincible in the search results. In this video, I'll show you how to find the exact keywords that your ideal customers are looking for that create trust beyond just a click. We will use AI tools, SEMrush, and even reverse engineer Google's own data so that we can understand what your customers are looking for and we can create content to answer those specifically. SEMrush recently did an interesting study on AI and its impact on search. And one interesting takeaway is that ChatGPT search primarily cites lower ranking search results. So these are results that are pages 20 or results 20 or lower. Generally, this would not create a lot of organic traffic, but because AI can help gather the information and answer a specific question that the user is looking for, the lower ranking, more specific content is actually being pulled into the LLM answers. And what this means is that LLMs can focus on delivering the best response for the specific user rather than the best result for the average user. So when we're doing research on the type of content to create and how we're going to build that trust and authority, it's more about the specific questions because it's not about ranking the whole page, but it's about including the content that can be pulled in by the LLM and then served to the user in an AI generated answer. So if we actually take a real example, this is a SaaS that I'm working on. It's an employee advocacy tool to help people be more active on LinkedIn. It's called Brand Marketers. And one of the main keywords that I want to focus on is employee advocacy. So if we look at Google, we can see that we can just type in the search term and we can see the AI search overview, which gives an overview of what the term is, as well as some key aspects of employee advocacy. These are the sources that are cited, and then these are the actual search results. We can also see that there is AI mode, which is more of a deep research, a generative chat that's powered by Google's Gemini. So when we are creating content, we want to understand what types of phrases, questions, and more long tail queries people might be typing in that we can create content for. So when I'm creating the content strategy for brand marketers, for example, I want to create several different buckets and categories of keywords that I want to create content for. So this would fall under pillars, clusters, and then within clusters, it would be keywords. So we'd have main content pillars. So maybe we'd have 5 to 7 of these that are addressing the main audience's goals, problems, and search behavior. So each content pillar would support different clusters underneath it. So if we have 5 to 7 different content pillars, and each pillar has 3 to 5 different keyword clusters, within each cluster, we want keywords. And those keywords are where we're going to actually create content around. So it might help if we look at a visual here. This is an example from Phrase, but you can see here, this is a website. So this might be brandmarketers.ai. Then each green circle would be a pillar. So we could have employee advocacy. Then we could have social media for B2B companies. Then we can have founder-led marketing. And each of these pillars would have topic clusters. And I want to show you the outcome that I have from doing this process and using AI to help me along with this process, where we have what the individual search term is, what the cluster and topic is, the search intent, the content type, the volume, the difficulty, and then the business value. So I'll show you the ChatGPT thread that I use to create this. So building on our example for brand marketers, let's just say that the first pillar is going to be employee advocacy for B2B SaaS. So this would be the pillar page. And then within each of these pages, we'd have different topic clusters. So we'd have, for example, what is employee advocacy? And we'd have a keyword for that and where that falls. So that would be a top of funnel explainer article. That's for somebody who is just learning about what employee advocacy is. And if we write the content, we will also want to include more specific sections that answer different questions within this topic cluster. So within this topic cluster as well, we'd have employee advocacy tools for SaaS, where we might have different tools that we're covering. So what are the different options that somebody can have that they could execute their employee advocacy strategy? So this is more of a middle of funnel campaign. Another middle of funnel campaign might be how to actually launch the employee advocacy. So they understand what it is at a high level. And now they're looking for the more the tactical specifics, which would be a middle of funnel content type. And the keyword that we might want to target there would be how to start employee advocacy at your SaaS company. And it goes on. So we'd have these different pillars and then clusters. And then within those clusters, we have keywords that feed up into it. Now let's go into the actual ChatGPT prompt that I use to create this, because you can use a paid tool, say like a SEMrush or Ahrefs. Those can be quite pricey. You can also see what AI offers. The one thing that you don't have necessarily is the more granular search volume data, but you can get the queries, and then you can actually reverse engineer, look at the search engine results for that particular query and see if it's something that makes sense for you to create content around. And now with AI, you can create content. The barrier to entry for creating content is much lower, so you aren't necessarily investing lots of time to create the content. So let's look through this prompt. I want to give it a role. So you're a senior SEO strategist and B2B marketing expert. I'll give you some context on the product, maybe the main keyword. The output should be what the main topics are, and then why it matters, and then some subtopics around it. Then organize it to give me keyword clusters, and name each keyword cluster with a primary keyword, a supporting keyword, and then address the different intents. And that's actually something that I should address as well. There are different intents for each cluster. So there's going to be informational, which is going to be high level, and that's going to be educating. So the how-to type articles or the best practices for employee advocacy. Then a commercial intent will be more middle of funnel, indicating an interest. So as we mentioned before, best tools for SaaS employee advocacy. Navigational, which would be brand focused, so somebody looking for a buffer or Hootsuite. Transactional, so this is bottom of funnel, so this is a high conversion intent keyword. So if they're looking to buy or the pricing or alternatives to, these are all bottom of funnel, transactional or comparison focused keywords. Now going back to the prompt, the one thing that's interesting here that I want you to know is that I do ask, do you understand? And what that means is I just want the AI to reaffirm that it understands a prompt before it goes off and does the work to answer what it thinks I want. So it says, yes, I understand completely. And then it gives a breakdown based on what I asked. So the main content topics, the content clusters, and then the guiding principles. And then I give more context for what I want it to create, which is an employee advocacy tool called Brand Marketers. The goal of Brand Marketers is to help team members be more active to post on LinkedIn. So I just give more context and then other alternatives in the space so that it can do more research on what those sites are creating in terms of content and ranking for. So then it did the high level summary of what Brand Marketers is and the goal of Brand Marketers, and then a high level keyword research plan. So we have the main content topics, which are the strategic themes. So LinkedIn strategy, driving pipeline, employee advocacy. Then we get more to the keyword cluster level, which is employee advocacy alternatives, founder-led marketing, and so on. Now we're getting more tactical, and I want to know what specific search queries AI would recommend that I search for. So I say, I want a list of the 50 most relevant search terms and queries for the potential customer. And then I created in my mind, here are the columns that I want. Here are the data points that I want. And then I listed it for the AI to return, which are the search terms, the cluster topics, the search intent, and so on. And this is how I ultimately got an overview like this, which is very helpful to be a basis and a compass for me to create content. Now let's look at a paid tool, which is SEMrush. So if I do the keyword overview, if I'm doing research on a particular keyword, we can understand what the search volume is, how difficult it is to rank for that, what other sites or what pages are ranking for it, and get more information on how we can actually create the piece of content to ultimately end up in both organic ranking and ideally as part of the AI overview. So now that we're in SEMrush's keyword magic tool and we're looking at the data for employee advocacy, we can see some interesting takeaways here. So for the United States, we're seeing that there are 816 keywords totaling 7,500 searches per month with an average keyword difficulty of 35%. And there are ways that we can filter to make it easier for us to identify what keywords we want to target. So for example, if we want to filter by any keyword difficulty that is very easy or easy, we can do any search term up to say 30%. and it will reduce down immediately to these 12 keywords. Maybe that's too low, so maybe we want to do 50. So we can see from here that this is some relevant keywords with keyword difficulty that is moderate to possible to achieve. It says here you will need well-structured and unique content. Another interesting feature with SEMrush is that you can actually see which search queries trigger an AI overview. So if you go here, that's an advanced filter, any SERP feature that has an AI overview. So all these will actually have the overview that we saw that gives a summary of all the pieces that are covering that particular query. So if we go to Google and we look for employee advocacy program, we'll see that as SEMrush noted, there is an AI overview. And what we can do here is we can see all the sources that are informing this article. We can go through and see what can we do in order to either answer the query more specifically or create a better post or a better piece of content addressing employee advocacy program. And one other very helpful feature in SEMrush is that you can find what people are asking about related to employee advocacy. So going back to the beginning of the video, when we're talking about AI overviews, it's more important now that you are addressing the specific questions that people are asking. And SEMrush makes this very easy to find because you can find the questions for this particular term, employee advocacy. If we remove this filter of AI overviews, we'll see a lot more questions. We can simply save these questions to a list of keywords. And once we create a list of keywords, then it's easier for us to save and create that content, whether we're using AI or doing it manually or with writers. Now I want to show you a few free tools that can help you find the questions that people are searching for that you might want to target and create content around. So the first is a Chrome extension from detailed.com. And so once you install this extension at detailed.com, totally free, then you can actually see on the search results page that it will pull out the option to extract all the other people also ask questions. So if, for example, we are searching for employee advocacy program, and you'll see that there are the people also ask questions. So that's this. And this is really helpful because this is a data-driven way to understand what people are searching for related to if they're also searching for employee advocacy program. So it might be, what does an employee advocacy program do? And if we click through on this, we'll see that there are more questions that pop up and more questions. And so the detailed.com extension actually makes it very easy to pull all of this in bulk, where you can simply click the third level and it automatically exports the 25 people also ask questions into a CSV. Then you can upload that CSV and look through to see what makes sense. Another good free tool that I want to show you is Answer Socrates. So Answer Socrates is a tool to help you understand other questions that people are looking for that you might want to create content for. So as it says here, discover the questions people are asking on Google about almost any topic for free. And the way it works is it combines the Google Suggest with the people also ask and Google Trends data to find the relevant and interesting questions to create. So if, for example, we're looking for employee advocacy program, we can search, then it will pull up all of the related questions around this topic. So can, should. So these are all different ways that you can answer either the questions or different prepositions or comparisons. So once you identify what your topics, your clusters are, then you can use a tool like Answer Socrates to fill in with more specifics of different questions or long tail queries around your particular topic or cluster. So after you have used your AI strategies to pull out some questions and topics and clusters, maybe it's a paid tool like a SEMrush or Ahrefs, and then it's other free tools like Answer Socrates or detail.com to pull out the people also ask, you'll have a rich list of content that you can create that will address with a data-driven approach what your ideal customers are looking for, so that ultimately you can generate trust and appear more in the large language model answers. And if you need help or you want to jump on a free strategy call where I can walk you through and show you how to do this for your particular brand, make sure to look at the link below and we can book a call to speak soon. Once you have your list of topics and keywords built out, make sure you watch this video where I walk you through step by step how to create AI generated content that actually ranks in large language models. Thanks so much. Talk soon.